The September Maker's Box is all things fall. The golden glow of autumn leaves, rustic pumpkins to a cozy plaid. You'll find the warmth, texture, and whimsy of the season. Get ready to spark your creativity. For project one, I was at the Goodwill bins and I stumbled upon this sign. I love that crackle goodness. I was not loving the saying. The sign had great bones, so I grabbed it. I am then using Royce's paper that she designs for my maker's box. This is called Whispers of Fall, and Royce designs 2 exclusive papers for every single maker's box. I do always like to start with a white base to really make my paper pop, but here I had to cover up this saying. I applied 2 even coats of White Swan from DIY Paint. I then lay down my paper. I really want to find out what area of the paper I want to have be the focal point, and then I cut away the excess. And always save those scraps, you guys. You can use them for future projects. If you've been following me for a bit, you'll know that I love liquid patina for Royce's papers. I always start with a starter strip. This gives you better control over your paper and it allows you to eliminate a lot of those wrinkles. So after I lay down a nice even layer of liquid patina, I mist my paper and then I smooth it out, and see, it goes on like butter. I then apply another even coat over the top, and then I pull the paper back and I work my way down. Now it's time to sand away that excess. In a downward motion, I either take a piece of sandpaper or a thumb sander and I sand away all that excess. Just make sure your project is completely dry before you do that step. The final step I do is add a bit of wax, and I use the dark DIY wax. I always have clear just in case I need to remove any of the dark. For project 2, I have been on the hunt for many tins. I want to find as many vintage tins, but I have been grabbing some other tins that I can upcycle, and here is one of them. Each month, you do get a decoupage napkin included in your maker's box, and we're taking this one and we're going to transform this really cool tin. So for starters, I'm using Renfrew Blue from Fusion Mineral Paint, and I end up applying 2 even coats of the Renfrew Blue. I let them dry in between coats as well. And then on the top, I'm using again a bit more White Swan as my base, and I do apply 2 coats of White Swan. And then I peel off the backing of my napkin. You definitely want to do that. And what I decided to do is just lay it down, kind of figure out where I want to place the pumpkins. And initially I was like right in the center, but then I wanted to cover the edges, so I kind of offset it a bit. And again, I'm going in with liquid patina, and napkins are a bit more tricky than the decoupage paper. They're a little bit more delicate, so you don't have a lot of work time and you can't overwork the area. So I lay down the liquid patina, I spread the liquid patina over the top, I work out the wrinkles, and I do it without tearing it. What I decided to do was add a bit of dark wax to the Renfrew blue. I just wanted to give it more depth and dimension. And what I did is just apply one even coat of the DIY's dark wax and then came back and wiped away the excess. And you guys, I just love how that turned out. For project 3, I am using Connie's paper called Moody Night. Connie from The Painted Photographer designs 2 exclusive rice papers each and every month, and this one I absolutely fell in love with. I did find 2 of these wood pieces at the Goodwill bins. I had no idea what they were. It just caught my eye. I think it reminded me of kind of like a breadboard. Well, what I decided to do with one of them is I am going to apply this paper to the top, and then we're going to paint the edges to really coordinate with the paper. So again, I want my paper to pop. I'm adding that white swan. I lay down the paper and I try to figure out where I want it. And I definitely want that pumpkin and that crow to shine through. I then cut down the paper and I make sure that, again, it was a perfect fit. And then I decided at first I was only going to do that one section. And I'm like, no, I want to add the rest of that paper to the very top and to the fronts of those wood pieces, because Connie works so darn hard, coordinating it and making that beautiful background. And if you actually look at the background, there's some leaves in it. And I'm getting good at blending, you guys, but I don't know if I'm going to be that good to paint the different leaves and things. So I want to use up that excess paper. After it's all dry, I go in with that sandpaper and I sand away the excess. And I do this all in a downward motion. It really helps prevent the paper from tearing or ripping off your project. Now I'm going in with the DIY paint. And in this month's box, you guys, you got Mermaid Tail and Electrified for the DIY paint colors. So we're using Mermaid Tail. And the real cool thing about Connie's papers is when she hand draws them, she paints them with DIY paint. So you can go into your DIY paint stash and you can coordinate whatever colors are in there with the DIY paint. And then I'm going back, I'm going to wet distress it a bit, and then I'm going to seal it with clear wax, come back and add a little bit of dark wax to, again, just add a little bit more depth and dimension. And you guys, this is so cool. I think it would be perfect just in any home decor as a shelf sitter or even hanging on the wall. For project 4, I could not pass this up in the Goodwill bins, you guys. Yes, the letters were all falling off, but I knew I could come up with something even better. And you guys, look, it looks like a cutting board. I think it's really cool that it had been a chalkboard, but we're gonna definitely upcycle this and make it into something even better. Now, there were little nails in there. I pulled all the nails out first. I didn't show that I did that, but some of the nails were still stuck in the frame. Some were stuck in this board. So I just took a pliers and removed that. I scraped away all the letters and then I am gonna wipe it down and paint it with DIY's White Swan. Once that's all dry, then I'm gonna use the Autumn Hearth Plaid from Royce, and we're going to use liquid patina and apply it to this board. I also want to mention that I still have just a few tickets left for the Vintage Soul Creative Retreat. If you guys have been on the fence and wanting to attend this 3-day event or retreat, you definitely should. I have the best lineup of creatives: Sally from IOD, Sasha from Sweet Pickins Milk Paint, Connie from The Painted Photographer, Tara from the Reclaimed Ranch, Christina from the Turn Leg, and myself. And you guys, we have the best projects that we have all come up with. You are going to be completely inspired, and your creative cup is going to be overflowing after this retreat. So grab your ticket before they're all gone. To finish this project off, I'm using one of the digital press papers. As a Maker's Box subscriber, you get access to all 5 digital prints every single month. On your postcard, you can see a QR code or a link to access those. Here you can see I'm using the wet tear method. So I take my paintbrush, wipe it down the side, and then tear it. I prefer that look over cutting it. I then go ahead and lay down a bit of Fusion's decoupage gel. And you guys, I just find that gel works so much better with the rice paper. It just has better grip. So after that's drying and I get it all applied, I decide I'm gonna grab these 2 molds. I have been actually pouring a lot of molds for the Vintage Soul Creative Retreat, a lot of pumpkins, you guys. And so anytime I have excess resin, I start dumping it into the other molds in the mold, and I had these. So we're using Eden from last month's box and Electrified from this month's box. And I know you guys, you think Electrified is vibrant and very, like, you probably would never use it, but you can, because it's perfect for mixing with like darker colors. When I taught my classes for barn quilts, I always said pick a dark color, pick a lighter color, and that's what you have here. You have that contrast. So I start off by painting the base, the Electrified, go in and add a bit of Eden, and you guys, this turned out so good. I love how these leaves really have a lot of depth and dimension because of the 2 colors. After that, I seal it with Big Top, and then it's time to apply them. Now that they're dry, I place them, and then I'm going to use Type-On to adhere them. I squirt just a little Type-On in the center, take a paintbrush and feather it to the edges. You just don't want it oozing out, you guys, when you lay it down. And I love how this transformed. For project 5, again, digging at the Goodwill bins, and I found this cheese crate. I love these. I think that there's so many possibilities to do with these, and I've decided I want to start stacking some and make them all different colors. So I knew exactly what I wanted to use this month. Curry, you guys. This is such a beautiful color for fall, but truly all year round. And if you haven't used milk paint before, it is such an amazing paint and so easy to work with. It never goes bad in powder form, and you just mix 1 equal part of water to 1 equal part of powder. And once you do that, I take a whisk and I whisk it really well. I do that for maybe a minute, and then I let it sit for 10 minutes, and it thickens up. And by whisking it, you get out like all the like chunks and stuff. But even if there are any like you didn't mix it well enough, you can still sand it and get a beautiful, perfect finish. I whisked it perfectly, and honestly, you guys, this was such a perfect finish. There were no brush strokes. It looks so good. I loved it. And I could have left it just like this and just sealed it with a clear, they have, Sweet Pickins has clear oil wax, dark oil wax, black oil wax, or white. But I always go back to the dark, you guys. I love it. And I just poured on a little bit of the dark oil wax. I wipe it all over. I let it sit for roughly 10 minutes to just really absorb into the paint. And then I come back and I wipe away the excess. And you guys, what a transformation for this cheese crate. I hope you've enjoyed today's video and have been completely inspired by the Maker's Box. Next month, you guys, it is the holiday box. You are gonna love this one, and I am opening up additional spots. So if you've always wanted a spot in the Maker's Box, be ready to sign up for next month.